What do you think about IPOB, their leader, and their agitation to come out from Nigeria?
They are very unrealistic boys. They are not, IPOB to me is not pursuing the right thing. When this war was fought, I told the IPOB leader, he was not born at the time.
You don't meet Nnamdi Kanu before, Chief?
I've never met him, but I've challenged him, and he has also challenged me that I was a slave of the North. That's why he branded me. I told him, he has a good fight, that we are being neglected. The youths of the East have been neglected. The people of the East have been neglected. They have only 5 seats, whereas other regions have 6. One, in fact, had 7. Based on what? Nobody knows. So for every appointment that's been made in this country, the Igbos are shortchanged. If you are distributing universities per state, they will have 5 seats, 5 universities. South will have 6. Southwest will have 6. Northwest will have 7. But the Igbos formed the 3rd leg of this country when this country was created. So they had a good fight, they have a good problem. They complain, but not the way they are going about it.
So you don't think, say, the South, they part of that map, because this is something we talk over and over again.
Those are useless.
Say if they come out,
what is it?
Delta, they part of Biafra.
How can Delta be part of Biafra? In what way? Is Biafra older than Delta? Are they bigger than Delta? How can River State become part of Biafra? No, or Akwa Ibom. They are dreaming, thinking about the eastern region of those days, or pre-independent, the time states were created. So, he's a young man. But let me say this before I finish about IPOB. I hope the federal government will give him a fair and decent trial, open trial. Because I do not understand up to today how the federal government got me back into Nigeria.
You can see how controversial Edwin Clark was. He schooled in government college here before he went to London to go and study. But on coming back, he got Gowon's attention, and that was where he made most of his money.
Unrealistic in time past, and he has always worked with the Nigerian government, and a lot of people are not happy as regards this in time past. What's your take as regards?
Yes, I can tell you there's a lot of reservation about the position and his understanding and his reaction to the Igbo problem. He might not have an issue with the Igbo staying in Nigeria, but he has issue with the Biafra. You see the 2 different things there. You don't have Igbo staying permanently, whether good or bad, and continue to campaign for nationalism, continue to campaign for integration of the Igbo. But when it comes to the issue of Biafra, he takes another stand. But it's not like that with Ayo Adebanjo. Then I begin to put these 2 people on the scale. I begin to wonder what actually, where did their reasoning and their philosophy begin to clash? What orientation do they have from the beginning? Who are they? From where to where? And I discovered that Ayo Adebanjo was actually single-handedly picked by Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. And later he switched over to socialist concept under Awolowo. And you can see the relationship now. So he was an Ezekist, then an Awoist. So he was able to balance nationalism with socialism that attracts Westernizing, and of course, you know what that it means, Republican in nature. So that is Pa Ayo Adebanjo. That is why you see Pa Ayo Adebanjo is never controversial. He has been standing on what his conviction till he passed on to glory. And I celebrate him. Yes, personally, I celebrate him. You know, I also celebrate, you know, Edwin Clark, even though, you know, me and him know they follow to side pass on the issue that has to do with Biafra, you know. So you can see where he's getting it now. You know, when he became a councillor, he worked under Ubebudia, the then Southwest. No, Midwest, sorry, Bendel or thereabout. He's from Delta State, you know, not an Ijaw man per se, but you can see the configuration that led to him claiming anything that has with the Ijaw leader. Who made he's not an Ijaw leader. Ijaw is not the Delta State. The largest place you can see Ijaw people is in Bayelsa. You can see how controversial Pa Edwin T.K. Clark was. He schooled in government college Umahia before he went to London to go and study. But on coming back, he got Gowon's attention, and that was where he made most of his money, under Gowon. So he had that orientation and that favoritism and that understanding that the North made me. And you can see, when it comes to issue of Biafra, these are the people who pioneered. You know what I'm talking about, Akere? Abandoned property. What is his name again? Keksaro Wiwa, who was still living in Linus Odumegwu Ojukwu's property in Port Harcourt until Amata killed him. And up to today, when they ask for Edwin Clark what is happening to the Igbo, he said Igbo should remain in Nigeria and do what? Die. But when you look at IPOB person, he said no, they are interested in crude oil. But the Fulanis have been taking the crude oil for more than 60, 70 decades now. Sorry. I can tell you. So you can see the orientation, one was made by Gowon, one has the combination of two powerful forces. One was a nationalist and one was a socialist. The socialist concept, the nationalist concept, he started with nationalism, and when he discovered that Nigeria is being fractured under corruption, he moved to Awoyis, and he was able to understand that Awo actually never wanted this Nigeria to be part of Nigeria. But Azikiwe, in his pride, I don't know how to go about it, he wanted a nationalist agenda. And that is where we found ourselves today. How do you now connect this, to their life and times, and of course the legacies they have left behind? Nigerians I've not seen anybody comment against Ayo Adebanjo, but you see people talking about Edwin Clark from different perspectives entirely. He has consistently called for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to me. The only thing Edwin Clark was able to do is to say he was supporting Obi. That was the only thing I can see. But in everything, the Northerners, we are using him. We are using him against the interests of Igbos. We are using him. He went over the board where South was created. He saw himself as the father of the Igbo land, Igbo territory. Until Ohanese, in their wisdom, was able to zone the Ohanese to the south. And somebody from Ugwuocha, Port Harcourt, emerged as the president of Ohanese General. And that is John Mbata Azota. You can see what is going on. The man is not making noise, but know that he's working on the ground. He's trying to make sure that every party, every group is being carried along. And that is why he has not come out to take a particular stand on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu until recently, where he said that the Eastern governors are the problem behind, because the fear of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's influence would dwarf anything that is left of their remains. But the fact is still remains. that Pa Edwin Clark was a legacy. Pa Edwin Clark was a South-South voice. Pa Edwin Clark was a regional champion. Pa Edwin Clark was a semi-anti-Igbo personality. Pa Edwin Clark was a pro-Fulani agenda. Pa Edwin Clark championed factors, agendas, policies, sentiments against the Igbos. Deliberately or undeliberately. That is the picture of how everybody sees it. He's a very rich man, not a poor man. He's from Bomadi in Delta State, current Delta State. He's not an Ijaw man. But we'll tell you, say Ijaw leader. You see Nigerian press, Nigerian media. You see Nigerian media. They are one of our problems.
But he has never come out to debunk it that he's not from the Ijaw nation.
Bros, but we are seeing that Bomadi is in Delta State. Abi? And you see the reason why Samuel Obomudia was able to make him one of his cabinet members as at that time, because he's from Delta State, Midwest. Do you understand? Midwest. So if we are saying this thing, let people get the facts correctly. That at a point, these people begin to, deny who they are because of Gowon, because of Fulani. But you can see the damage that is going on in Delta State today. You can see the concept of the Fulani agenda being deposited on the resources of that region, because they do not want anything Igbo factor. They don't want any Igbo man to come around. They don't want. But Igbos have said it clearly. Igbos have not able to lay their hand on the oil immediately after the war till date. Are the Igbos not surviving? These are the questions we need to ask these people. But I can tell you, he died a Biafran, but a Nigerian physically. Because I know how they're going to bury him in Sokoto or in Bomosho. They're not going to bury him there. They're going to bury him in Delta State, and Delta State is Biafra land. What is called South-South? Go and Google it. Write South-South on the Google and see the size. Google will warn you. Say there's nothing like South-South. What you will see there is South-East, Southwest, North. There's nothing like North-North.
What of Niger Delta?
But let me tell you, Niger Delta, listen to that name. Niger Delta was a name given to people from a tribe in Bayelsa State. Are you listening to me? In this present Bayelsa, understand what I'm saying? In this present Bayelsa, a distinct tribe, that was what the name Igbos and the rest of them were able to coin and call Ijaw people, Niger Delta. But how many Nigerians will be able to tell you that? But when you mention Niger Delta, they say including Bini. Who told you that? That Bini is Niger Delta. Bini is old Eastern region. Became Midwest under Osita Osadebe because the British still fear the Igbo influence. After they have conquered Bini, it took them 45 years before they can conquer the Igbo land. The Yorubas actually invited them to come because they don't have any issue, any struggle in the north. But seeing what they have done so far, the Yoruba nation, we are inviting them to come and colonize them. But Igbos, you see, that is where the issue started from. That's what the foundation, the coupling, the amalgamation started showing signs of, disintegration. that led to the coup taking place as at that time. But I can tell you, Pa Edwin Clark did not actually push for independence of his people. I'm not talking of the South, because that's where he came from. He's an Easterner. He did not. But because he was bred and trained by Gowon, you can see now. But this man that has a relationship with an American, Azikiwe schooled in America, and you have another one, a British trained lawyer, who championed socialism and welfareism at that time. You can see how, he was consistent. Nigerians know that this man was. Go online and see reactions from people. Nobody is talking about. The only person they give kudos to consistently without having any reservation is Pa Ayo Adebanjo. And that is the real fact why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu called them names, because they are Fulani stooge. The Fulani are their paymasters. They dictate for them. And that is why nobody can dictate for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu today. And this is why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu can proudly beat his chest and tell you, yes, I've got what it takes and I'm not surrendering it to anybody. Under any circumstances, the world, by omission or by commission, will recognize the struggle against conquest, Islamization, Sharia, and the killings of the Christians in this part of the world.
Okay. Well, sorry, we're talking about Nnamdi Kanu beating chest, but Nnamdi Kanu, Pa Edwin Clark said when he wanted Nnamdi Kanu to stop this agitation, Nnamdi Kanu said that is Edwin Clark is working for the Fulani, that is a Fulani slave. That's why, after he wanted Nnamdi Kanu to stop this agitation, but Nnamdi Kanu didn't hear because he said he was working for the Fulani. That is Edwin Clark is working for the Fulanis.
Yes, I said it here. He's working for the Fulanis. He worked for the Fulanis. But unfortunately, it will be very difficult at this point in time to see somebody who is going to carry out from that angle, because that is the end of an era. Their era is gone. They are the last breed of that brigade.
We remember the days of Omar Diko when he was being created in a big box to be kidnapped to Nigeria. I don't know how this young man was brought back to Nigeria. There are legitimate ways of doing it, legal ways of doing it, by extradition. Where he is, there will be court session to determine whether he committed a political offense or a criminal offense. That will determine whether it will be brought back or not. I do not think these were followed. And I think that the Kenyan government has a duty to tell us, is this boy lying? Was he in Kenya for 8 days with British passport?
But the Kenyan government don't deny, say they know.
No. The man said, I was abducted from Kenya. The man who was saying they were playing politics. During the trial, we will now hear this. Kanu should be made to make a statement to the public. But I do not agree with him, the way he's fighting the fight. You are just killing your people. You must listen to people. You must belong to a decent society. That's where I disagree with him.
Yeah, President Muhammadu Buhari talk for one recent interview, say he get assurance from the elders from the South and also the youth, say South no get any intention to talk about separation from Nigeria. You be one of those elders we believe in no separation.
I'm not a question of being an elder. am the leader of the Ijaws. The INC he was referring to, the Ijaw National Congress, where the president led his newly elected executive to. I am the chairman of the board of trustees of that organization. The Ijaws did not give Buhari any assurance. All they were saying is that we are part of this country. We are not breaking away from Nigeria. We are part of this country. We have no reason to secede, provided we will belong to a country where all of us are equal. Provided our area will be developed. Provided we will be allowed to participate in the oil industry in our home. This is what they said. So to quote them out of context is unfair and unpatriotic.
So, Chief, if the talk say make we not rule out in the nearest future, South, also coming up with a position, say, then they marginalized and they won't come out.
We are not saying that. Who owns this country? Come out for who? Who owns this country? That I should now pack and go to where? We will fight for our rights here. And we are saying that they should mind their ways of doing things. When we got to the stage of taking our destiny into our own hands, you will know what we want, what we will do.
Yeah, and Chief, recently, just because you mentioned the fight to produce a president from the South then, and that is something where the Southern governors don't, again, talk about and don't decide for recent meeting where they do. They talk about how the next president of Nigeria is supposed to come from the South. You agree with that, their decision?
Oh, yes. Listen, this country we are, now we all get more. Not be one person, not one group of people. When Lugard signed an agreement, bring us together in 1914, he did not say that the North should be senior partner of that amalgamation. The South should be the junior partner. Or the North should be the husband. And the South should be the wife. There was nothing like that. It was an equal agreement that you are all equal. Come together. That's what happened. But we knew that the British government at that time, and I'm happy that the BBC, were helping the Northerners to dominate the South. And that's where we find ourselves today. But we have been telling them, this cannot continue forever. The first prime minister we have in this country, equivalent to Mr. President, was Alhaji Tafawa Balewa from Bauchi State, Northeast. So when the Northeast people came recently that they have not produced a president of this country, it's a lie.
Okay, Chief, you've clearly stated.
So now what we are saying,
that it should come back to the
South. It
South.
should go to the South now that Buhari has ruled for 8 years.
And his administration is
in 2023.
Okay, Chief. So let's talk about something else where the Southern governors also talk about from waiting happened for the National Assembly, the Senate and the House of Reps on the PIB bill. But the Southern governors reject the 3% revenue for host communities where they produce oil. Say no, they enough, say 5% they want. You support their decision?
Well, 100%. I support their decision. Even when they said they were ready to accept 5%, I disagree with them. We want 10%. 10% equity of the allocation. Equity shares of the company. We want to be part of the oil industry. The northerners who are today having all the oil blocks, who are the owners of the oil industry, who maintain, control it, they don't produce any oil. Not a pint of oil. They don't. Most of them who benefit from this oil, they don't know what crude oil looks like. For the people, for instance, in 2005, when we had the same problem at the political conference, reform conference held in Abuja here, at the International Conference Center. I was the leader of the South-South. This same issue came up. We produced a paper at that conference. And one of it was that to show who are the people benefiting from the oil we have without contributing a kobo to the economy of the country by form of oil production. And we discovered that North Central to get about 48 billion naira yearly. But they don't contribute a kobo to the revenue of Nigeria Federation account, apart from what is produced, other charges, custom, and so on. We're talking about oil and gas. Northwest, they took about 49% billions. They don't contribute a kobo. Northeast, they took about 45%. They didn't contribute anything. Southwest, they took away about 49 billion naira a year. They contributed less than 4%. In Ondo, where the Ijaws and the Rajahs are, at the water side of Ondo. Then the southeast, between Imbo and Abia, they contributed about 2.5% at that time. And they got only 35 billion naira. Whereas the South-South, plus the 13%, we got about 140% billion. How much did we contribute? More than 91.5% to the coffer. Year today, we are the poorest. Have you ever seen where wealth is produced in your backyard and you are the poorest? You are the most neglected. Those who benefit from the oil come from other areas. Today, the oil flows through my backyard. If I want something benefit from it, I have to travel to Dar to meet Mr. President Muhammad Buhari. Can I benefit from this oil? We say yes, provided you are APC member.
Okay. Let's talk about some other national issues
Okay,
now. Make we talk about insecurity, because that now one big issue where Nigeria they battle with, from the southeast, where you see attacks on police formations and police officers and security officers, to the south-south, where we have they see issues of kidnapping, southwest, farmers, herders clashes, northwest, the issues of banditry and kidnappings, and the southeast, where Boko Haram is seen a big problem. How you go assess the response of the federal and state government to tackle all these issues?
Which issues?
Of insecurity.
Insecurity is a national issue that is actually eating into the fabric of this nation. And if we do not take time, we will have no country to show for it. So it is not a matter for political parties, not a matter for the executive alone, not a matter for National Assembly. It's a matter for all citizens of Nigeria. But unfortunately, Power is in the hand of the executive at the National Assembly. All we are saying, provide enough material for our soldiers to fight. We have fought in other countries. We have fought in the Congo. We even fought in Europe, in Pakistan, in Asia. We fought in Africa, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Congo. Why today, the Nigerian soldiers that are held very high in other parts of the world, today we cannot even conquer Boko Haram for 13 years, going to 20 years now. So it's a shame to all of us. It's an embarrassment to all of us. But unfortunately, the federal government is not taking this matter serious enough. Provide money. This is the time when extra budgetary should be made for the war. But unfortunately, those who are commanding those armies, those forces in those times, most of them were regarded not being clean, not being transparent. So the amount voted to buy weapons and so on, in most cases, they bought expired products from Eastern Europe, Ukraine and other places. And again, the ambassadors, you remember the case whereby a general sent soldiers to carry 400 and something billion naira in a vehicle. And they were caught. What did they do to the general? What type